government put in loyalists to Trump only, and rip down any department that is considered woke, like the education, et cetera, et cetera. I mean,
yeah, I mean, but we as
treasonous, or I don't know. I mean,
yeah, well, no, I mean, look, it is a crazy ass plan to
yeah,
yes, but advocating for removal of a government agency or service, nothing is inherently, wrong about that necessarily. People have, opposed the Department of Education from day one. But it still continues to exist. But it's an existence of legislation and executive action. Legislation can change that. You can't universally just get rid of it because it's authorized by Congress. You would have to take over Congress. It'd have to be an act of Congress to eliminate whatever ones. Now, certain departments are in the U.S. Constitution. You can't get rid of the State Department. You can't get rid of the Justice Department. You can't get rid of the Treasury. Those are all constitutional departments within.
The three branches of government separate for the powers to be, but so Project 2025 is not attacking those three powers, because that's also what
no, it is an attempt to secure most of the power in the executive branch by getting rid of certain departments and then making them operate under the authority of the executive office of the president. So it is transferring it from which is a combination legislative and executive function, because legislature creates it. The executives are the ones who get to appoint the appointees in it, but most of them are all civil service anyway. You don't have a loyalty to a president or a party when you get your job. You get it because you're a citizen and you get to keep it. It doesn't get changed out with the change of every administration. Could you imagine the government trying to operate where every single time there's a change of administration, everyone is fired and new people have to get hired? How would you have continuity of government or programs? It just doesn't exist. So yeah, what they're advocating for is basically the total destruction of the government of the United States and placing it all in the hands of the executive, which is, a horrible, horrible thing to do. There are aspects of Project 2025, which I think you could consider to be conspiracy to violate individuals' civil rights. I personally think that a lot of these anti-trans bills that are being put together, advocated for by these national organizations and hate groups, and being funneled to state legislators to, bring this up and pass it, that is the actual conspiracy to violate the civil rights of individuals, because they're seeking to use the power of government to take away our ability to exist as humans. And that to me is a violation of our civil rights, and them engaging in that conspiracy. Now, whether I'm going to get anybody who wants to jump on the board and take on the legislature of Georgia for their actions and taking away the access to health care, that's going to end up being a civil case. But if we do get a finding by the Supreme Court that we do have these fundamental civil rights, then they're attempting to take them away through these laws is nothing more than the same thing that they did to African Americans in trying to take away their voting rights and prohibit them from being able to vote, taking away their schools. Those organizing to take those things away from people is wrong and illegal. And I think it's the same when they do it to go after the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah. I mean, I heard, I think this morning, that there is, I forget who it was, someone's advocating basically some old law basically in Constitution that because Kamala Harris is Black, that she's technically not even allowed to be voted for as well, because she's technically not a person. I mean, the level that they're already going to, and we're only in a month and a half since the announcement.
Well, if you go to the original Constitution, and Blacks were considered 3/4, I believe, of a vote, or 4/5. They were not given a full personhood for purposes of census and things like that. But that's just absolute bullcrap, because we've amended the Constitution since then. Yeah, but it's horrible that they're thinking it. Yeah.
Yeah, because here's the thing, like I'm conflicted about Kamala sometimes with some of it because of the whole it's not that she was a cop, but she was a cop to a degree. And there's a lot of things that were problematic with what, affected a lot of community members. And looking at it in the way that she is just being hammered, hammered. It's when you see her in the tan suit in the same way that Obama wore the tan suit, like I'm conflicted. Like I'm excited to vote for her, but I'm also like still scared at the same time because of there's the whole Cop City things that are popping up. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different things that really directly affect trans people. Like they really do. Trans folks, unfortunately, are in the system at a higher rate than most communities. And it's really unfortunate that there's that history for her because at the same time, I'm also like looking at it and going, oh my God, like I feel like Disney magic, like hope in my heart, like seeing the DNC and seeing, there was even like Mayor John Erickson there was from West Hollywood. I saw him posting and he was like right there. I think he even got an interview with I forget what major network, but there was a lot of beautiful moments that happened in that. But at the same time, there was like a really great streamer. Well, I wouldn't say great. Sometimes he's a little problematic, but he had I think like 90,000 folks on his stream. And because he was talking about Palestine, they like pulled him out of the building. So there's like a lot of different things that are happening simultaneously. And I know she can't fix it all at once. And I know that we as community members also want to put our hope in, but I still fear because there wasn't even a drop of trans representation, at least in her party, that we're almost like, well, we got the trans vote because they know that if they vote for Trump, it's, well, everything's gone. And that's how I feel because Kamala still has my vote, but I just wish that my vote was more considered in a way that we're looking at the multiple genocides that are happening throughout the world and even
Yeah,
to
it's
people directly in this country legislatively. I mean, as a trans person, I've got abortion rights that I'm fighting for and also trans stuff. So as a trans guy, I feel like I'm getting hit in both angles and nobody's even really platforming trans men at all or having those conversations. That's also why I wore Pussy Boy, because I just wanted to make sure that that was known that I'm a trans guy if anybody's watching this and has forgotten. But it's so many nuances that are happening at once and I'm still so hopeful, but it's like this, like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
well, to me, the way I look at it is there is no other choice.
Yeah.
Do I know what she's going to do? I have a
No.
very good idea of what she's going to do in
Yeah.
relationship to trans rights. You've got to remember Governor Walz. Sponsored and supported and signed into law the sanctuary provisions in Minnesota law to protect trans people who would come to Minnesota from another state that was seeking to persecute them. So, and he has a very, very good understanding of trans issues, from what I understand.
Yeah.
And so he is going to be an advocate for us. And I know that President Harris has been at times an advocate for the trans community, and at times, as Attorney General, she acted against it.